Hello and welcome to Episode 7 of Tales from the Dark Dragon's Inn, The Champion's Roar. Thanks to those of you who supported us last week. You can look forward to seeing yourselves as NPCs in future episodes. As you may have noticed, our heroes are somewhat bereft of magical potency, and this is something I intend to give them the opportunity to change. Though I have a range of options available, if you have any interesting ideas for items compatible with the 5e system of D&D, drop us a message on Twitter @DarkDragonsInn, and you may just see them pop up in a chest sometime. This week we have all the regulars: Vinny as Murrin, Tom as Urbak, Liz as Toby, Nina as Mix, and I'm Ray, your host and Game Master. And I play, well, just about everyone else.
You're back! It's so good to see you again! I thought after the last show we might not see some of you for a while. I don't know about you, but these stories keep me on the edge. Come on then, let's get your table set up. The Doomsinger will be on any minute now.
Humble patrons, be at ease, for the scales of justice did indeed survive this perilous night, as you well know. Tonight may well be our last night in the Siege of Greenest, but the struggles of our heroes, well, those are only just beginning.
Scraw staggers over to you all, looking fairly bloodied and beaten up. Well fought, friends.
Mix puts her hand on his shoulder. Well fought, my friend.
I don't know about you, but I think I could use a trip to a medic.
Yeah, let's get you taken care of. I suggest that we find the healing tent that Mix visited at some point.
Doomsinger's like, yes, proper medicining, not like that religious mumbo-jumbo. I could use some of that also, I think.
Mix shoots him a dirty look. It was not mumbo-jumbo.
I am so too woozy for anything right now.
Doomsinger, he turns to you and says, Priest, what was that back there? That was abysmal. I've never seen you so close to death. It's ridiculous. Snap yourself out of it. Get it together.
Just go and find the medic, will you? Edric. He's still here, right?
Yes. Thank you so much. At this point, he's looking up at you in awe, because even though everyone was fighting, most of what he saw was you standing in front of him, having kobold after guard after cultist charging at your face and smashing the shit out of you. He watched you almost die in front of him and still get up and then fucking kill the guy who was essentially trying to stop him from repairing the gate. At present, he is in awe of Murrin. Yes. What can I do for you?
Pat him on the shoulder and I say, not sure what you did with the gate, but it's holding steady. Good job.
It's nothing really. It's just simple. It's an old worldy thing. It's nothing.
Previously about possibly reinforcing them further.
There's nothing that I could do, but I'm sure that we could have the captain take a look, possibly.
Definitely need some guards down here.
So it's around about that time a few of the townsfolk start milling down very cautiously, looking around the stairs, and somebody
A buttload of corpses.
You see this wiry-looking old gnome, and he turns to his Goliath compatriot carrying like a bunch of lovers. Says, "Is there something that we can do to help down here? I was told that something was in need of repair." And he's kind of just looking around you all really nervously because you, as you rightly point out, are surrounded by corpses.
Mix would like to help with the cleanup of the corpses because she's realized that it's a mess and makes us look very scary. And whilst that's a good thing to our enemies, not so good for the people we're trying to help. Can I put them in a pile? I'm laying out the bodies in a pile so they're at least all
Go
in the
ahead
corner.
and roll a strength check for me. See how efficient you are at moving bodies around. You start trying to move the bodies around, and you find the smallest one that you can. Okay, I've got to put an effort in. I've got to make it look like I'm a helpful person, and you just find the smallest kobold you can, and you reach down to pick him up, pull his body away, and as you do so, you realize this is one of the ones that Scraw took care of, and you put your hands on the shoulders of the kobold and pull up to lift it up, and just the top half of the corpse comes away, and there's just viscera falls everywhere, covers you from the waist down, and you are just covered in gore. Unfortunately, your attempts to make yourself look less intimidating go a little amiss, and the guy looks at you in utter horror. I mean, no offense. We are simply here to and he looks at the door and says, "It looks like there are no repairs needed here. I think we've been misinformed, Ogric."
Toby's like, wait.
Mix just mutters and grumbles and sits on the floor with her arms crossed. She's very.
She sits in the gore. She just drops the body and is like, "Fuck this." She just plops down in the gore and crosses her arms like,
Yep.
At least the clothes will match now. It's kind of spooky.
Toby.
Before they ran off from this horror show. So, wait, yeah, the door has been repaired, but we need to reinforce it because they attacked this door. They're probably going to try again.
That seems reasonable. We'll see what we can do. And he looks around you all and he says, "You all look like you could use some rest, or a doctor, I think. Perhaps you should go do that." And he motions to his Goliath, "With me, Ogric, come." And the Goliath just nods at him silently and brings the lumber over towards the door, and he starts building some kind of structure to affix to the place. And as you guys start leaving the room, he turns to Edric and says, "Do be dear and send some guards down here just in case this one is right and they try again while we're reinforcing things." Yes, of course. I'll make sure someone does that.
Toby goes.
Do be careful.
Mix
Lots
up
of bugs.
kind of thinks twice about it.
Mix does a shooing away motion to Toby because 1, she's grumpy. 2, she doesn't want to get blood and sinew all over Toby. And 3, she's grumpy.
Going back up to the main keep to get some healing on.
Yeah, get some healing, and in Mix's case, maybe get the closest equivalent to a shower.
I'm just trying following everyone a bit today.
You head up. You notice that the doctor seems out of it. He seems to perform reasonably in that fight, but it seems to have left him a little bit dazed from the looks of it. Mix, you are leading the way. You are heading towards the medics, trying to get everybody there.
Hold up. If Mix is leading them, isn't she going to scare the medics away?
You're the only one that knows where they are.
Oh, okay. Mix will lead to the best of her ability.
I mean, to be honest, you're in a keep in the middle of a war zone right now, so I mean, they're not going to expect people to be turning up to the medics in pristine condition.
That's fair.
However, I imagine the townsfolk are giving them a wide berth.
Yeah, I mean, you come up the stairs from the cellars, you are the first thing that anybody sees. And as it is, the guards were keeping everybody back and away from the stairs. There was a small group of guards at the top of the stairs, standing guard in case anything tried to come up. The first thing they see is you, and they just back away like 6 feet. They recognize you, but they see you're covered in gore, and they look concerned, but I'm not sure what to do about this situation.
Is that hers, or is that somebody else's?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey Nick, people seem very in awe of you all of a sudden.
I know, I wasn't getting nearly this much attention when I wasn't covered in guts. Next time someone gives her a dirty look, she's just gonna growl at them.
A sign of a battle well fought, I say. So you don't say anything to the guards who are backing away from you. You just storm through the tower, ignoring all of the townsfolk who are looking at you horrified and the parents trying to shield their children.
Yeah. Because Mix is grumpy and realizes that no matter what she says right now, until she's clean, no one's gonna not just cower or question or whatever, and she can't be bothered. She just wants to get clean, get her friends healed up, and get back to business.
The Doomsinger is sauntering, but with the limp. He's doing his best to look real casual, but you can tell he's actually feeling the effects of the last encounter. The spear that hit him in the shoulder took him pretty fucking hard. He is very much in need of medical attention. But he's still at the back. He refuses to lead anyone anywhere, and he is doing his best to act like he has no particularly hurried intentions of getting anywhere. So you make your way to a portion of the keep you have yet to have been 2. You make your way past a lot of the guards who are still in the keep. You see a small group of guardsmen doing a similar thing that you saw Edric doing on the door, but on the ballistas and on the stone walls around that area. And you can see that the beginning of the ramparts and so on are actually starting to reform and take some kind of firm structure again. You guys find yourself winding through a few tunnels, come into a moderately clean area, operated almost exclusively by Tabaxi, one of which walks up to you, Mix, and says, "You return so soon. Why?" And he looks over you and says, "No, this will not do."
But
And before you can say anything, he raises a paw. "No, you must be clean. You cannot come in here like this. We have patience." She turns to one of her compatriots and says, "Take care of this." You see a dragonborn and a half-orc come over, and they're wearing little white robes, come over and they bow respectfully to you and take you by a shoulder each and lead you off into a side area where you find the bathing facilities, because they do not allow you to speak. They just hustle you out.
By the way, I'm imagining the scene in Mulan where they like bathe her and
Yeah.
just don't. Yeah.
They have no interest in the fact that you have a body or are a woman or whatever. You need to be clean now. We are not performing our services for you while you're covered in this mess. It's not happening.
Mix is grateful for the cleaning, even a strange procedure.
I mean, they lead you to the bathing facility. They don't do the cleaning for you. The rest of you are invited to lay down on some beds should you require healing. Arbak, you have been in somewhat of a daze since the battle. However, I do not believe you are in injurious state. Is there anything particularly you would like to do?
For the most part, Arbak is just pretty damn confused. However, are there any doctors free in the area at the moment, or are they all tending to one another?
There are some attendants around here. Most of the Tabaxi you see lead Scraw, Toby, Murren, and the Doomsinger to various beds, at which point the Tabaxi doctors begin to put them through the process of essentially treating them using methods you certainly have not encountered before in your medical profession, because it is exclusive to Tabaxi historical practice,
Well, when you put it
essentially.
like that, I'm going to slap myself lightly to wake myself up a little bit, and then go on over to keenly investigate.
Whose table are you standing at?
I'm going to stand at Murren.
Murren. Okay. So Murren, you are led to a table. Think like a massage table where you lay face down. You've got the cushion around your face. Toby, you don't know what to expect yet, but you have also been led to a table and asked to lie down on your front.
He does begrudgingly.
Okay, so you are all now comfortably lying on your front. Toby, you find one of the doctors places their hands on your back and they start kneading. You feel initially, Toby, the doctor is kneading your shoulder area.
He just grits his teeth and bear it because he's his usual suspicious and wary self, but he needs healing. He's half his HP.
You observe Murren's experience with absolute detail, and in fact, despite the fact that you have never encountered this practice before, you are able to immediately analyze and determine how this is actually working. You watch with interest as one of the Tabaxi climbs on top of Murren on all fours, and this happens to all of them. And so, Toby, what I'm describing is happening to you now. So, Thai massage. Essentially, it is a massage which a person massages you using their body, and they maneuver your body through a series of yoga-like poses with their own body very firmly. My hand is on your hand, my shoulder is on your shoulder. It's all very interwoven. And you notice that the Tabaxi are producing a sound which you realize resonates at such a subsonic frequency that it's actually capable of repairing internalized damage. You regret, however, that this is not something that you personally could replicate. So while Murren is undergoing this experience, do you have any questions for him, Arbak? As that was a very thorough investigation.
No, I'm just going to focus intently on that, although if it's that thorough, I'll gladly glean anything else I can from his physique as well. He's been beaten, he's had the crap kicked out of him, but it seems to be still alive somehow, which is pretty impressive.
You gather that what happened earlier was very much part of his orcish constitution, that the orcish portion of his bloodline allows him to brace himself against damage and recover from what would otherwise be a fatal blow.
Good, interesting. What about the others? Anything else I can step out to them? See how they're
In this case, you were paying particular attention to Murren and the process he was undergoing. So I would say not in this instance. I'm really deeply curious about how Toby is handling the
I think barely.
deep physical contact. It feels great. It feels real nice, but that's not necessarily a reassuring thing for Toby.
No, he's skirting that line of forcing himself to endure it, but fighting himself not to just get the fuck up and leave. He doesn't like it.
Nix, this is the second time you've been through this today.
Thought I was still being cleaned.
Yeah, sorry. At some point, you were led out from the cleaning area. So you come out dressed very simply, and you also allowed yourself to be ministered to.
Mix full on enjoys it. She huddles. This gets rid of the grump that was inhabiting Mix for all of 10 minutes, maybe.
Meanwhile, Toby has now gained grumpiness.
Yeah. Nix, you recall that the doctor was completely out cold when you left the room for the encounter, and probably has no idea what happened.
Once Mix stops being a puddle, she takes the time to explain that some really scary stuff happened. Some really, really scary stuff happened. Oh yeah! There was a giant lightning dragon. There was a very, very big, full-grown adult lightning dragon.
Azrak just slaps his hand on her shoulders and stares in the eyes. Where? Where is
It flew away.
Cool.
I'm so sorry. I know how much you would have wanted a souvenir.
Score looks up and says, "They wouldn't let me fight it."
That would probably be for the best. You would make a great meal for such a creature. They're much larger than you know.
A mighty foe. Sadness in his eyes as he rests his face back down on the table.
Mix reaches over if she can to pat Scrog.
He shrugs off your feeble attempts at comfort.
Yeah,
If
so
it is any
he's-
consolation, it would have been a very ignoble and humiliating death.
He just scowls, and he doesn't even look up from his table, but you can feel it. You don't understand what it is because Lizard Man, but you can feel it.
Toby is too agitated to join in this conversation.
We had no way to fight it. The reason we didn't is because something happened to Murren. I'm still not sure what happened to him, but something happened to him, and he told us not to. And then Nix looks over at Murren.
Who told you? Dragon or Murren?
Murren told us not to hurt the dragon. He believes it can be reasoned with.
Quite possibly. They are intelligent creatures from what I recall.
Reason with it. Did we not? We avoided a fight. Well,
Oh, absolutely.
a fight with a dragon. That was beyond any of us.
My
My friend. Screw. There'll be other dragons to fight.
I'd better be bigger.
Can't fight that one.
I can only imagine what's going to happen if we talk him out of fighting an ancient dragon.
I believe the dragon spoke of a progeny.
Yeah, we spoke to the dragon, which was terrifying, by the way. It told us of its progeny, which it wanted us to help.
Ah, dragon has young. Of course. Curious why it wants us to help, however. It's a dragon and we are just, oh.
I don't know, there's something about, there was desperation in his voice there.
Which way did it flee? I assume it...
Mix is like, yeah, I'll be honest, there was so much going on. I was just trying to absorb what it said, and I didn't take note of which direction it was going in. Just that it left us alone, it left the town alone. It didn't actually mean us any harm.
It's that
It
bit
didn't-
that gets Toby's attention where he's just like, aside from the unfortunate people manning the ballista.
Yeah, details.
Doomsinger's like, it was all rather remarkable, to be honest with you. I had absolutely no idea what was going on, but quite frankly, I think it ran in fear of me.
That is highly unlikely. You are incredibly small.
But I was the only one there to successfully land any attacks on it, and it ran. So, by extent of all considerable logic, I vanquished a dragon.
Toby's just giving him this look. It's just kind of, he believes.
Just
It's
call
coming
me
out
the
his
Scourge of Tiamat.
Toby's just like, does not have the energy to
Well,
deal
I'm
with
glad you're
Doomsinger.
still with us, friend.
And, you, I
With your
suppose.
life intact, nonetheless.
Such a foul creature has no power over me.
No, but if it came back, it would probably kill you. Quite horribly. In
Well,
fact, it would probably kill all of us quite horribly.
perhaps we'll see.
Aside from us all dying in a horrible, embarrassing way, if we were to face that dragon, I believe when it was talking about its progeny, it mentioned a cave sounds like the same cave that we were told about before, where its progeny was being held. It sounds like the same place where the villagers have been taken.
Did the Doomsinger get healed up and get all the massaging and all that? Was his mask the whole time?
He has not removed his mask, no. Mask is still firmly in place. In fact, you do see at some point one of the medics tries to ask him to remove it, and he simply lifts his hand. Please. I am disfigured horribly. I would not wish to offend any here.
Toby's not sure how much he believes that.
He seems really genuine, and that's why he wears the mask. Of course, he's disfigured. And you feel a little bit guilty about judging him quite so harshly, because if you were so horribly disfigured that your face needed to be masked, you'd probably be pretty bitter too.
Mix is giggling a little bit at the situation.
Considering Toby is convinced that this man is horribly disfigured, he now thinks you're being really rude. He's horribly disfigured and Mix is laughing about it. He just kind of, as Mix laughs, Toby just gives her this look of utter disbelief.
Doomsinger kind of
Mix just looks at her feet and shushes.
So as you guys are lying around, you are interrupted by a polite as Tarbor Nighthill comes into the room and says, I had been told I would find you here. You have done some excellent work tonight. When you are ready, I would like you to accompany me to the ramparts. I believe something is happening that I'm hoping you can provide some insight on.
Of course. And as soon as he's able, Toby gets up and puts a good distance between him and whoever was massaging his back.
There's a really young tabaxi girl. She's 25, 26, and she sits down and she sees you uncomfortably shift away and she winks.
Oh god, that makes him even more uncomfortable. He just opens an extra couple of feet. There's an empty space in this room. He is standing in it.
Right, yep, of course, yep, got it. Go help. Scrawl looks up from his table where he is still being administered to. He says, you go on ahead. I've lost all energy for tonight. I'm exhausted. Just go on without me. Find me later.
Sky is sulking.
Toby has summoned Oz back.
So you guys are walking through the keep, and Tarbor leads you up the stairs to the ramparts. When he gets to the edge, he points out to the crowd ahead of you all, and you see that there is a significant gathering of various cultists, specifically like the kobolds, and they have various drakes with them and lizards and different things that you don't necessarily all recognize at once. At the back of a crowd, you see a group of large figures. They're not large in as much as they're gigantic, but they're certainly more pronounced than the rabble that is hounding the gates. You see a figure surrounded by large, heavily armored individuals. There are two what appear to be prominent figures communicating. And Tarbor turns to you all and says, I believe whatever is about to happen will happen soon. We've seen more troops arriving, and they appear to be amassing in greater numbers. What nobody else realizes is that Toby has advantage in this situation. You are looking out over the fields of various cultists and kobolds and so on and so forth. None of that has your attention at all. At the back of the crowd, surrounded by heavily armored knights in ornate gear, is a purple-wearing half-dragon that you recognize to be Resmir. I need you to roll a deception check to see whether or not you can hold your composure long enough to mask your reaction to seeing. You may do so with advantage because nobody has yet noticed or queried the fact that you always go quiet as fuck when anybody mentions anything. You managed to keep your cool long enough that nobody notices your immediate reaction of
bridled rage.
Out there, you definitely see Resmir, and she is talking to another half-dragon that is wearing really ornate gold armor. He is holding a massive spear, and they both look deep in conversation. So you guys look out over the crowds, and you see a great gathering of kobolds and drakes and cultists, At the back of the crowd, you see two large half-dragons. Back, I don't think you've ever seen this before. A half-dragon is not a dragonborn, nor are they a lizard folk. They are actually quite literally half-dragon. In the same way that Marin is half-orc. They are actually part dragon. And here, there's not one but two of them. They are deep in conversation. They're both wearing purple robes. One of them is wearing very ornate armor, and he wears his purple robe swished back behind it. The other that he is talking to is surrounded by a battalion of highly armored troops, and they are deep in conversation with one another.
Question: if they're half dragon, what's the other half?
You're not sure. They are very large. It's difficult because of the fact that they don't have any visual signs of being anything other than a dragon, except for the fact that they're walking on two legs. What you gather from your observations at this distance is that there is something unnatural about these creatures. They could be mistaken for Dragonborn by someone who was less observant, but there is definitely something more dragon-like than you've ever seen in any dragon. But based on that investigation check, it is immediately apparent to you that these guys are either generals or very important people, not least of all because one of them has an armored cadre of guards, and the other is wearing fucking gold embossed armor with a big ass spear ready to fuck some shit up. Tarbor looks around at you all nervously and says, "We've been waiting for hours for something to come to a head, and I'm just concerned something's going to happen."
Well, I'd say if something's going to happen, those two are certainly going to be perpetrators of it.
As you say this, the smaller of the two, the darker of the two, the one that has the armored guard, begins to walk away, and they leave. You see the golden armored character turn towards his troops. He raises a hand and motions. What you see is a large group of kobolds and cultists with various drakes begin to swarm down the path. The half-dragon steps through them all until he is standing in front of the group. He begins to walk down the path towards the keep. As he does so, the line of cultists begin to light torches. He steps down the path. As he steps into the light, he is at least 7 foot tall. His skin is covered in blue scales. He has wicked claws, and his face has the muzzle and reptilian eyes of a dragon. He stops about 80 yards from the main gate of the keep and scans the walls. Behind him, his kobolds, with their spears, prod 4 dwarven prisoners into the dim light. You can make out a teenage boy soaked in blood and 2 children, as well as a woman. As these are revealed to you, the half-dragon steps forward, shouting at the top of his voice, "Defenders of Greenus, this has been a glorious and successful night, and I am feeling generous. Do you see these 4 pitiful, useless prisoners? We have no need for them. I will trade them back to you. Send out your best warrior to fight me, and you can have these 4 in exchange." And as he is saying this, you hear a sudden cry from one of the guards on the ramparts. "Tarbor, that's my sister. Sister and her children. I've got to go out. I've got to fight him." The guard mate next to him is like, "No, God's sakes, man, you couldn't. Have you seen him? He's monstrous." He's struggling with his friend to be let go so he can go down and fight the 7 foot tall half dragon man.
Makes me think of the best thing to do because she knows she's not strong enough to fight this being.
That's a shame. Score would be great from that now.
Tarbot says, "My friends, you've demonstrated your prowess all through this frightful night. I realize this is an awful burden to ask you to bear, but any of you has a better chance than any of my militia. Family or no, I cannot send another man to his death."
Bobby doesn't say anything. He starts walking down the ramparts towards the gate.
Mix notices this and runs after him. You can't face them alone.
I follow. Just look at him.
As he sees no response to the ramparts, he says, "Come, are these lives of no worth to you? Are none of you brave enough to face me?"
What if one of us goes up to him, but the others attack him from a distance? Would that work? I want to
Most
say
certainly
the
not.
innocence.
The moment we attempt anything involving trying to interfere with this battle, he'd likely turn and slaughter those 4.
I fear it may excite that than anything.
Can anyone summon a dragon?
I'm uncertain of this. Was their release contingent on us winning the duel? Or simply
Probably
fighting
gonna
it?
kill them anyway.
Anyone here feigned death? Done it before, but I think I had the help of a mountain of corpses.
Doomsinger turns to Mix and says, "Shouldn't have had that bath."
Mix shoots him a dirty look. Yeah, Mr. Funny Man.
Oh, I'm so conflicted.
Yeah.
As a mark, are you actually capable of flight? I'm never quite certain with yours.
Not yet.
Doomsinger, you're one of those sort of young folk. Find out if the children will be released, even if we lose.
Very well.
Doomsinger addressing this mysterious.
So he sticks his head up over the ramparts.
What are you going to do with the brats if we win?
If you win, you may have them.
Unharmed?
Of course. I'm not a monster. My night has been very successful. I look for the joy of battle. Send out your warrior, hurry!
And what if we don't fight you?
Then they die. They are of no use to me whatsoever, but if you do not wish to play, then neither do I.
Ask him what happens if we were to die in the combat. Will the children still be released?
If we face you, but we lose, what happens to them?
He barks laughter. I like the cut of your jib. The children go free. Either way, I cannot.
Then all is good. We can have someone such as the wolf once before. That's a perfectly good trade.
It seems to be on the up and up. He's not attempting to lie to you in any way. He's just very much said what he means and means what he says. He's happy to let them go. He wants to fight someone. He's not had a single good fight all night. It's been a very successful night, and he's heard that there are warriors worth fighting, but he has yet to encounter any.
He's the evil version of Scraw.
We need to get Scroll.
No, we don't, because we're going to get him killed.
He wants a fight.
Do any of you have any distraction tactics, like anything at all that we can use? Because even if one of us goes up to just play along with it for a little while, enough time to maybe get the group to safe, make some kind of escape?
I have an idea. What?
Yes?
In terms of the fight, if we could convince him to make it first blood, if it's first blood, I could simply knock him to sleep and then nick him. I have a sleep spell on his own. I can focus it on him, bring him down perhaps.
Doomsinger. If we fight, do we have to kill each other?
What is a battle without death? There are no stakes.
Right, can I control Doomsinger for a second?
By all means.
Your dragonliness. Let's say we make this interesting. Do you consider battle to be an art? Do you consider it to be a dance between two worthy foes?
I've never been one for dancing, but I don't see why not. It truly is the highest form of life and art, as it were.
Let us test your finesse then. First blood. He who draws first blood wins and may slay the loser. He who draws last dies.
If your warrior agrees that I may kill them upon first blood, certainly.
Enterprising?
They will lose their head.
Can Tabaxi healers revive?
You do not know the answer to that question.
But
I'm not convinced they can revive someone whose head has been severed. I will put this forward. Of course, I'm not 100% keen on the idea of sacrificing myself, but I would consider sending someone else out. If I could sneak a sleep spell out at the right moment, just enough to cause him to lose consciousness. Another person, perhaps this soldier here.
My men grow weary. Their sword arms grow tired. I would hate for one of them to slip.
What say you all? Do you think we can manage this? If I can knock him to sleep without him noticing, whilst he's dueling someone else?
I'll do it. If you're confident you can get him to sleep, I will do it.
Make sure you have a means of escape.
Escape is so-so.
Keep him close to the gate, of course, also as close as you can. You need the sharpest blade you have, the sharpest.
The squishy warlock is going to go fight a dragon beast. And pray that Urbach succeeds on the sleep spell.
You're a cunning one. Help me find some kind of place I can get cover.
Nix goes down to the keep floor, and the guards begin to open the door to let you out.
Makes her heart is in her throat right now, like...
Out of character, Nina, and if this goes horribly wrong, I do apologise for Nix's untimely death.
As the doors open, you see the dragon creature turn and smile broadly. And then he looks at you, and his face kind of crinkles a little. You must be brave, or stupid, or perhaps mightier than you've seen. He turns to his men and he nods. The three children start walking towards the keep. And he says, "As a show of my faith, the children go free now. However, this is a duel between two. If any interfere, the woman dies. My men will see to it, regardless of what happens to me." Nix is already out of the gate, I assume. She's seeing the children coming towards her.
Yes, low as she can towards the...
The kids walk right past you and start running towards the keep. He makes no moves to stop them. Nobody tries to stop them. You see the kobolds getting frustrated and being like, yeah! And they start like poking the woman, and he turns and goes, "Ah!"
Everyone, form a wall in front of me. Make sure they can't see what I'm doing.
Mix shouts to him, "Is there any way I could persuade you otherwise? Is there anything?
I am Lennithon. This will be the final name you hear. Alas, this may be the last time you draw your weapon.
Mix draws no weapon.
Go ahead and roll initiative.
Oh my god.
Mix still goes first in combat, but she said she's not drawing her weapon. What is Mix doing?
She's casting a spell. That's what Mix is doing. Mix is actually going to cast Witch Bolt. Mix is terrified, but trying her best to put on a brave face.
You hold your hands in front of you and you focus. The crystal around your neck floats out from underneath your collar and floats between your hands. You charge it with your internal energies. You release it all at once. It collides with the creature standing in front of you, who has introduced himself as Lennithon, and smashes into him. He howls in pain and reacts instinctively with his lightning breath. Roll a dex save for me. Very nice. You see him bellow and arch his back, and he roars forwards, and the air in front of him crackles with lightning. You leap backwards, dodge sideways, and roll to one side and land in a 3-point landing with your hand up and ready. As you do so, the lightning fades. He starts laughing.
What's so funny?
This could have been a great fight.
What do you mean could have?
Turns and walks towards his men, and he just punches the kobold nearest to the woman in the face. Nods his head at her, and she runs. One of the drakes nearby snaps at her leg, and he punches that in the face too. She runs towards the keep and starts banging on the door. He turns to you and says, "Well fought, mage. I've decided to keep my head." And he just leaves.
Mix falls down, slinks on her knees, terrified, confused, relieved.
He's basically reneging on your deal to allow you to kill him, but you did preposterously well, and he is very impressed and has decided that he will let you live, simply.
Mix is what's the word?
Flabbergasted?
That's a good one, yeah. She's been holding her breath this whole time and can actually take in air and just...
You learned that trick from a certain relative. Right now, she's getting these flashes of memories of the training that she had growing up. All of that was brought to the fray as she dived out of the way of this massive lightning storm that leapt forth from this creature and saved her goose, which may otherwise have been very cooked.
At this point, Toby's run from the rampart down, and he's running towards Mix.
Gate has been opened, the woman's running, and the guards gone down to rush to greet her. They're just having a happy reunion. Toby's rushing down the path to Mix, who is on the ground. There are still cultists and kobolds around, but they don't seem to be approaching you guys or the gate, as they're vaguely stunned and a bit confused about what they're supposed to be doing right now, as their boss is wandering off and has recently assaulted 2 of them.
When he gets to her, he collapses on his knees next to Mix and just wraps his arms around her because he is so glad that she's not toast.
Did you see that? I did it. I'm not dead.
Well done. Toby pulls back. He puts his hands on her shoulder. He's looking her dead in the eye. He's like, "Next time you stop me from doing something stupid, do not go and do the same stupid thing."
Someone has to, pretty
Oh, well, far better than expected.
You guys hear from the keep? She did what? Oh, come on!
Mix hides behind Toby. If Toby's wearing any kind of cape or anything.
You're seeing the guards on the ramparts at this point hurriedly making come hither motions. Mom, what are you doing? Get back in here.
Yeah, Mix, even though her legs are still a little shaky, holds on to Toby just for some stability, and maybe they make their way back to where it's maybe safer than out in the open.
Yeah.
The guards hurriedly shut the door behind you, and you are suddenly smothered by a group of 2 young dwarven children and a very grateful mother. You see the teenage male dwarf talking to his uncle and not looking directly at you. Kids are just hugging your legs, and the mother is crying on you.
Nick starts crying too. She's just so happy they're safe and so happy she's not dead.
And she's just sobbing with them. She's very emotional right now.
You see Scraw wandering around the courtyard. Not storming around, just wandering backwards and forwards. He doesn't want to interrupt the moment that you're having with the family. He's happy to wait, talk with you afterwards.
I'm just going to have a back, just get a rough idea of how many people there are. I mean, how many there are and so on.
You mean soldiers?
Yeah, how many of these cultists and whatnot there are.
Hundreds. You can't get an exact figure. There are just too many of them. This is an army.
Can I decode that? Has the horde reacting? Are they retreating as well?
Not at this moment, no. They seem to have filled up the gap that the troop that he was with left behind to more surround the area. So now they're covering the path. There's literally not going to be any way in or out of the keep at this point.
Okay, but the guy's gone.
Yeah, he left. Some of his troops went with him. A small personal guard. Not like the guard that you saw around the other half-dragon. The guard that was with the other one were elite shock troop. This guy left with some of the foot soldiers, which are his personal entourage, I guess. Doomsinger wanders over to you, Mix. He says, I think that's 2 dragons we've vanquished between us tonight. Maybe we really are the scourge of Tiamat.
Hope just gives him a look, because they got through both of those encounters by the skin of their teeth. Mix, quite literally.
You know, that's actually quite a good name. Tiamat's Scourge. Scourge of Tiamat. I just feel like there's a folk tale there waiting to happen.
Well, maybe you can sing about it when...
I will! Yes. Yes, that is what I will do. At the fastest pace you have ever seen the Doomsinger walk, he strolls off into the barracks. He doesn't say anything, he just bolts off.
Creative types.
I hope you're comfortable with the fact that there's going to be a very embellished story.
Well,
Toby's not comfortable with the fact that the one singing about their daring tales seems to be the Doomsinger.
Back is thinking this would be wonderful, and it would be great if it was only likely that anyone would actually leave the keep alive, which is not very likely. So it's kind of a shame, really.
What do you guys want to do?
take a vacation. Mix is well and truly exhausted. More on like an emotional level than anything, but exhausted.
Tabor comes down from the ramparts. You see the look at his face, pure admiration, thankfulness, and he approaches you. That was exceptionally well thought. I've never seen anybody move like that before. I'm glad that you are alive. Needless to say, this family is likely to herald you for the rest of their days. But you do look somewhat tired, if you don't mind me saying. Could I perhaps find you a room for the night? You have all done more than enough, and should we need you, I know that you will be here, but I feel my men and I, well, if we cannot sustain ourselves, then there's not much hope left for us.
Well, the Horde seems to be at a standstill.
I'd agree.
Toby's reluctant, but accepts that emotionally they have all been through a lot. Physically, they have all been through a lot in what I'm assuming is probably about several hours.
It has been 7 hours, 8? You have effectively been run ragged since you arrived. You've been running around and fighting your way through and around town for roughly 8 hours. You all look knackered, because you probably are. More than one of you has almost died tonight and been brought back from the brink.
Mix very gratefully accepts his offer / suggestion to rest.
Toby reluctantly accepts it as well, because, yeah, they've been through a lot, and he's not sure how much he or anyone else in their group can actually realistically take if another thing gets thrown at them.
Pretty good, so because he's had a good nap already, he's going to have a little wander around before he wants to have a good look around the keep and just assess exactly what kind of defences they've got. More importantly, if there's any kind of possibility of escape.
I just say to Tabor, you'll come find us if the situation changes.
Yes, of course. Please follow me. And he starts to lead you towards the tower again, but this time he takes you up into private rooms. Back you, stand back. Mix, as you are making your way towards the keep tower with the others, you feel a large, furry hand place itself upon your shoulder.
Imagine her just getting really stiff all of a sudden because she didn't expect.
And you hear whispered into your ear, I heard what you did.
Mix is like, uh-oh. Mix looks really guilty and doesn't really want to look Scar in the eye.
When you turn around, Scraw is looking at you and he's just smiling and he has his hand out in front of him.
Mix looks at his hand and looks back at him, wondering, does she do I take the hand? Do I? Mix kind of just goes for it and
He reaches past your hand and grasps you by the elbow in a forearm to forearm grip.
mixes in with the cool kid. She now understands what Scar is doing and clasps onto
Yeah.
his elbow forearm.
You wouldn't reach his elbow, but
Yeah, that's what I was
his
getting at.
forearm certainly. He says, "You are a fine warrior, and I am glad to be traveling with you."
Mix blushes a little bit. Thank you, Scraw. It's a pleasure to be traveling with you too. Though she still low-key feels a little guilty for telling Scraw not to do dangerous things and then goes and do something really stupid.
So you guys all follow one another up. Edric is posted outside of your room as a guard, just to keep watch, and obviously he is also keeping watch over the Doomsinger. You all find your way to bed, where are you all just going to curl up and try and sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, as Avak is not.
First of all, I'm just going to explore, look at the keep, get a good idea of its layout. Then once I've done that, I'll have a see who's around.
So you're wandering around the keep, and nobody particularly tries to stop you. They're familiar with who you are now. They know that you are a doctor and that you've been traveling with the group that has been doing their best to help people tonight. So nobody particularly tries to get in your way. You're sort of looking around. You find a lot of different rooms that are occupied by townsfolk. A lot of different barracks and beds. You find a couple of kitchens, a dining hall. You don't find anywhere that stands out like an escape route, but you do find yourself wandering around a tunnel when you come across some jail cells. These are, of course, guarded, so you have a few guards wandering up and down the corridor of the jail cells.
I'm going to wander up to the guard and speak to him.
How can I help you? Are you lost? The barracks is down that hall. You probably took the first left, but you have to take the second left. It's the first right, whichever. I'm not sure where you're staying. If you're looking for the governor's quarters, you just got to go straight on, past all the lefts, and then take the second right. Sorry, second right. Not good.
Thank you.
Not so good with my directions.
That's absolutely fine. It does seem a confusing place at times. I was just hoping to have a look around the area. I just wanted to assess the walls of the keep. I had to just determine if there's any safe way to get the villagers out. We have one tunnel, so it's always worth looking for another one. Would you not agree?
Well, thing is, the truth is, if this keep's gone, they're lost anyway. Looking at the tunnel was never meant for getting anybody out. The tunnel is a way of getting food in when we are under siege. It's a hidden small entrance. There's not a lot of space out there. The keep is meant to be impenetrable. As far as I know, there's no way in or out except for the main gate.
Was the tunnel just the only one that we had to defend earlier?
Yes, the one that I heard that got broken in through. That's the only way in or out, and I didn't even know about it.
How old is it?
I don't know, thousands of years as far as I know. It's very well maintained. We put a lot of time into keeping it shipshape.
If that is the case, it might be possible there may be an older hidden tunnel somewhere. Of course, I
Certainly
realise
possible. As I said, I didn't know the tunnel that got broken in through last night existed until, well, we heard about you folks travelling out of it, and we heard about folks breaking in through. Luckily, you were close to hand to put a stop to that, and I thank you.
Oh, of course. Although I don't really want such an instance happening a second time.
No,
Would you mind
agreed.
if I took a look around the area? Of course, you may feel free to supervise me. So
He says,
that's fine.
by all means, have a look. My compatriots and I will be keeping a close eye on. There's a couple of dangerous prisons here. You don't want to get too close to the bars, so please keep to the wall.
Oh, of course. Alright, so I'm going to just saunter in and, as meticulously as I can, check all the areas, look around for anything that might look a little out of place or anything like that. Oh, also I would like to pay particular attention to any kind of water source that we have as well. The possibility of an underground tunnel might mean there might be some other...
Looking around the prison tunnels here, you don't really see much of... nothing really stands out. You don't actually find a source of water in this area. You do recognize the prisoner who was brought here as the one who bit off your chunk of finger. However, you do not see anything that particularly stands out as being unusual for the structure or integrity of the place. Nothing that would indicate there's any sort of tunnels here or thereabouts.
Between times. I'm just going to walk out of the cell area and just thank the guard for letting me have a good look.
Oh, absolutely. If you've got any questions, I've heard you guys are doing good work tonight, so please stop by the barracks anytime.
Well? You have a well, or where do you get your water from here?
Yes, it's in the basement.
Ooh, would you mind if I took a look?
By all means, just go through the keep tower.
You realise as he's saying this that he's talking about the basement that has the tunnel that was broken into. It's in the same area.
Okay, well, I'm going to bimble on down there.
You go in through the tower, through the entrance that you're familiar with. You get to the top of the stairs, and there are guards posted there. Sorry, we can't. I'm very sorry, Doctor. We can't let anybody down into the basement anymore. There's a lot of dead things and people and dead people down there that I believe you and your friends were responsible for, but the captain has ordered that we are not to allow anybody else down there at present. Apologies. And this guy is a half-orc.
That is quite understandable. I just have a few inquiries about the well, your water source that you use down here. This is where you draw the water for the entire keep.
Yes, we have a fresh, clean water source. It's actually pumped up directly from the river.
How wide is the well? Large or
The river, I mean, you've seen the river yourself, because basically when you come out of the tunnel, that leads directly to the banks of the river. I'd say it's a pretty fucking large river, I don't know.
So in theory, one could go to escape the keep via the well. The gratings or ropes.
Well, I'm not really sure how it works, to be honest with you, but, I mean, there's a pumping mechanism, so I expect that probably the entrance to the well is not very large. It's big enough for water, I guess. I mean, it's possible it's very large, but I mean, that well hasn't been dry for, I don't know, centuries.
And just contemplating the possibilities of emergency evacuation, you see.
Certainly, that makes sense. Best to talk to the captain about that, I imagine.
Well, where is the captain now?
It's probably manning the ramparts or, just telling people where to be, what to do, keeping an eye on things.
Very well. Thank you for your time. I'm going to go and try and locate the captain now.
You wander out of the keep thinking, bloody hell, how the hell am I going to find the captain with all this care? And you just walk right into him. You practically trip over him as he's crossing the courtyard. It's like, for God's sakes, man! Sorry.
Captain.
Should you not be sleeping?
I'm planning to head to bed soon. I just wanted to have a quick word with you if that's possible.
Aye, is it important? What is it? I'm very busy.
Well, of course, we have to prepare for the worst in this situation with what's going on outside, and I'm contemplating possible escape routes and evacuation procedures. I have some inquiries about the well.
Aye. What about the well?
Well, being a lizard man, I'm naturally capable of staying underwater and swimming quite well. I'm quite adept at it. If we had someone down there, such as myself, who could go down, set up a system wherein people could also escape, and therefore not rely on the tunnel, I was wondering therefore would it be possible for myself to somehow get down the well. And of course, I also need to consider the possibility that things may come up the well.
It's very interesting. I have to say, it's not something that's come across my path before.
There seem to be a lot of hybrid breeds of the army out there. That horrific horde.
No,
I think it's one or two, one such as myself, to
indeed.
attempt something.
To tell you the truth, we don't have many lizard folk in this town. I'm not sure it's ever been investigated. Come with me. And he actually leads you back into the keep, and he takes you past the guards to the basement. Tell you the truth, I'm not sure that anybody here really knows the answer to your question. So, if you'd be willing to find out, you're more than welcome to try.
Thank you.
And he stops you and he says, I don't mean to be rude, but this is the drinking source of the entire keep at the moment. So you've not got any infection or anything that contagious.
Of course. If you would like, I'll happily wait until my party is ready and the room is fully clean before we can investigate further.
I'll leave it to your discretion, Doctor. You are a medical man. You must know these things. Whatever you think is best.
Of course. I'll now retire. I should probably get some sleep. Thank you for your royal assistance, alright?
Of course. I thank you for the forethought. It's certainly. I'll run your questions past Talbot. He might know something that I don't. Toby, you, after some time, manage to fall asleep. It's restless sleep. It's disturbed. You have been through a lot. You've just recently almost seen your friend die. You almost put yourself in that same position. It occurs to you that you're not entirely sure that you would have made it out one piece yourself, and maybe you're questioning why you were ready to do that. As sleep takes you, you find yourself alone in a dark room. Or you thought you were alone. You hear heavy, ragged breathing coming from the opposite end of the room. As your vision begins to clarify, your eyes adjusting to the lack of light, you see Resmir, bloody and badly beaten. She is pleading for her life. You focus, and you see a single black feather land upon Resmir. She seems to weaken, and a soft purple light glows around her. It's then that you notice the aching in your fingers. You look down at your hands, drenched in blood. For a moment, you feel rage, shame, remorse. Then a voice begins to echo in the chamber. It is Resmir's. It becomes louder and clearer until it fills your mind with a white-hot clarity. The weak ones are to be slaughtered. They will not be needed on our journey to glory. The fury within you can no longer be contained. It billows up within you, and your arms outstretched, you loose an eldritch blast at the already battered form, channeling all your rage and pain into this one moment. The agony you cause Resmir seems endless. You're blinded. Suddenly, as a flurry of feathers and wings sweep your consciousness, a soft voice whispers, "Soon, but not yet. You are not ready." As you push through the blinding wall of feathers, you find yourself in a library. Scroll and text that seem lost to time itself. You browse through, but find nothing intelligible in any language you recognize. Looking up from a book with frustration, you find yourself looking into the void, like eyes of the Raven Queen. She bends before you, leaving a soft kiss upon your forehead. Despite yourself, you do not recoil. You blink, and she is gone. You take a moment and sigh. You return to the books to find something of use, and you come to see that you completely understand the text in front of you. A recipe for Spanish omelette.
What's Spanish?
Indeed, perhaps you will find the answers in the texts within your dreams. Morin, you are brought to a chamber where you lay down, and before long, sleep takes you completely. It's a deep but restless sleep. Your dreams are a discordant mess of dragon teeth and darkness. You see over and over again Lennithon's gigantic claws coming, swinging towards you, inches from utter destruction. You hear the resonating tones of his voice bellowing the word, Arendelumphos! It echoes in your mind over and over, but you manage to center yourself, focusing on your memories of who you are. You recall your training in the temple at the feet of your master Creve as a member of the Order of the Stone Claw, and a sense of deep calm overcomes you. There are words littered through your training, distant memories of things Creve once said, perhaps even in passing, that begin to take on a meaning just outside your range of understanding. You feel invigorated. You recall training sessions many years in the past, and you see much younger versions of yourself, striking and moving in ways you can't remember ever having been capable of. You hear Creve's voice urging you to focus, to harness, to channel the energy within, but those memories fade. You don't recall ever reconnecting with that intensity. That is until now. You find yourself flowing with energy as you push away the thoughts of dragons and beasts and darkness. You focus on the flow and the movement of your body, and you find you feel almost weightless, capable of reacting to even the smallest of details. When you wake the next morning, you realize that intensity is still with you, sitting just below the surface, waiting to strike upon your call. Next, you were brought to the private chambers by Tarbor Nighthill, who shows you to a number of beds. You find one probably near Toby. And soon enough, exhaustion takes over, and you fall into a deep but restless sleep. Your dreams filled with smoke and fire and dragons. The smoke clears and gives way to a smiling figure, one you're familiar with, as he has been with you for as long as you can remember. Edgar. He beams with his pride, and you are filled with warmth and light as his voice whispers, "You have done well, my starlight, but there is more yet to be done." Your vision blurs, and you find yourself crawling through a filth-entrenched mire. As you pull yourself through the muck, your hands find purchase on something soft, smooth like fine porcelain. You lift it up, and the dirt simply falls away, as though it were water. You find yourself on your knees in front of a still lake, holding a plain porcelain mask. An understanding comes to you, and as you put the mask upon your face and look down into the crystal pool, you see you are wearing no mask. You see only your face. With a wave of your hand, you caress your cheek softly. Closing your eyes, you run your fingers through your thick, rugged beard. You open your eyes in alarm and see a dwarf staring back at you. You blink your eyes once more and find yourself staring into the eyes of a beautifully adorned Triton. Again, a dragonborn. The possibilities seem endless. You find yourself walking through a field, side by side through the dawn with Toby and the others. Oz turns to you, and you find that he speaks quite plainly in common. "You know, you really should consider taking off that silly mask." You motion him into silence as you approach the camp. What you seek is close, and only wit and guile will serve to deliver it. When you awake the next morning, the sounds of people working in a camp ring in your mind, and the need for stealth and secrets seems true. Back. A guard leads you to the chamber that the others were brought to, and you find that they have left a bed for you, and everybody is dead to the world. They are utterly asleep. They are tossing and turning here and there, and you hear a few of them talking to themselves as it seems everybody is sleeping restlessly. And when you yourself find sleep, you find that your sleep is restless too. Your sleep is restless. A night filled with slaughter you've not seen for many years since your escape. You find yourself wandering through a field in the dark, unsettled by feelings you do not recognize. You hear in the distance a bestial roar. Something large. No, monolithic. It gets closer and closer, but at the last minute you fall into the earth, and you hear it soar past you overhead. You strain to look up at it, but the earth drags you down, consuming you. You open your eyes to find your body brimming with energy. A green glow envelops you, and you channel it into the surrounding earth, which shakes and stirs, rising up, lifting you, and you see that you are standing on the back of an immense creature, long since forgotten beneath the ground. An undead creature barely recognizable for what it once was. You hear a bell toll in the distance. A flash, and you are standing on the edge of an encampment. The night is dark, and those within are huddled close around a fire. Defenseless travelers, meek, and you are so very hungry. You approach silently, your face shifting into the visage of a Goliath with a great scar across his face. You greet them loudly in common, and they invite you to sit by their fire and share in their food. It is poor fare, but you dare not risk being recognized so close to the wastes, and raising an alarm would no doubt cause trouble. You know they are hunting you. The snap of a tree branch in the forest, you turn, and a blast of energy leaps forth from your body, surrounding your target, slamming into it over and over. You awake with the sudden violence of it all. The memory still clear in your mind, you take fast your spellbook and make detailed notes on the incantations you recall. It becomes clear to you that if you are ever to achieve your goals, it's probable that the ways of necromancy is where you will find the answers you seek.
And that's all we've got time for this week. I hope you enjoyed that last insight into our level up process, which we aim to keep almost entirely in character. Let us know what you thought on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, or better yet, through an iTunes review. The track at the beginning of this episode was Extravaganza by TRG Banks, and the track you're hearing now is While You Are Here by Ending Satellites. Until next time, travel safe, and remember, the scales of justice are here for you. Always.